Hey everyone, for those who don't know who I am, my name is Joanne Smythe and I have celiac disease. So I have been very passionate since I found out I have celiac disease. You know, I went on, there wasn't a lot of info out there at the time. So, I read and absorbed every bit of information I could find, and I found what worked for me and in my journey with celiac disease. And nowadays there's quite a bit of information out there, including Facebook groups and stuff like that. But I'm a part of those, and I talk to people within those groups. But I've also been noticing that there's a lot of negativity in the groups and stuff, and so I really don't like being negative. I'm really trying to push the negative stuff out of my life. So I've been really passionate about celiac disease and sharing my journey with others. I have a blog post and stuff that you can check out. It's myceliacjourney.info, and I do posts and stuff on there, and you can interact and tell me your story and stuff like that. And I really try to just be positive because, this is a lifelong disease that we'll be dealing with. We can all live, many of us can live a very long life as you do the gluten-free diet and stuff and take care of yourself. Um, but there's no cure for it. So, we have to be positive. You've got to really work with one another and help each other. And I find that there's so many negative posts these days on there that it's got to be really hard for new people that are diagnosed. So my goal here is to set up and start doing some videos and talking about my journey with celiac disease. And if you guys can relate to it, or if anything, if I can at least let you know that you're not alone, that, we've all either been there, we're all going through it now. It's just a lot of comfort in knowing someone else that has the disease and the ups and downs. Now, of course, there's over 300 symptoms for it, so not everybody's going to have the same sort of symptoms. um, but it's still nice to be able to know that you have someone in your corner. So if I can help anybody feel a little better that at least they're not alone, then I feel that I've done a good thing. So I will be doing some short videos. I will discuss topics about how I've dealt with celiac disease, how I live my life with celiac disease, the good times, the bad times, things that's happened and stuff. And I'll be sharing those. So I would appreciate it. I would love to have more of you, view them. If they help, then that's the goal. And you can always check my blog page out. Again, it's myceliacjourney.info. And you can also find me on the Facebook pages. I have a couple pages on there. You can find me under Joe Smythe, JoSmythe. And you can follow me there. You can friend me. I'd love to, converse back and forth with you, and at least be there to give you some support if needed, or share my story with you. So I hope that you guys enjoy the videos. Today I want to discuss what celiac is. There's quite a bit of information out there about it and stuff, but I'm gonna talk about it in the layman's terms, if you will. So real quick, I want to go to celiac.org because I want to read a small little paragraph about what they say it is. So, and then I'll touch on my thoughts on it. Um, Celiac disease is a serious autoimmune disorder that can occur in genetically predisposed people where the ingestion of gluten leads to damage in the small intestine. It is estimated to affect 1 in 100 people worldwide. 2.5 million Americans are undiagnosed and are at risk for long-term health complications. When people with celiac disease eat gluten, which is a protein found in wheat, rye, and barley, their body mounts an immune response that attacks the small intestine. These attacks lead to damage on the villi, small and finger-like projections that line the small intestine that promote nutrient absorption. When the villi get damaged, nutrients cannot be absorbed properly into the body. Celiac disease is hereditary, meaning that it runs in families. People with first-degree relatives with celiac disease, which are going to be like parent, child, or sibling, have 1 in 10 risk of developing celiac disease. So, when someone with celiac disease takes in gluten, our body thinks it's being invaded, and will send out antibodies to attack the gluten to kill it. Okay, well, you can't kill gluten, but our bodies don't know that. So our body response is to send out antibodies to kill this invader, and all it does is the antibodies go right through the gluten because you can't kill it, and it ends up hitting the walls of our small intestine. And in the walls of our small intestine are villi, or villa, some people call them, but they're little like fingers that are moving, that are within the intestine, and what their job is to absorb nutrients. It pulls the nutrients out of the foods that we've ate, and pulls them into our body. So when you have celiac disease and you're eating gluten, the damage from our own bodies attacking itself, which is the autoimmune response, um, the antibodies are going to wear these fingers down to where they're going to end up being flat. And when you have flat villi or villa, um, you can't absorb nutrients. And when you can't absorb nutrients, you're not going to be healthy. You're not going to feel good. So you have to be on a very, very strict gluten-free diet, should I say, um, in order to be able to get these villi or villa to repair themselves. So over time, they can grow back, but you have to take care of them. You can't be letting your body attack them by not taking in gluten. So something I want to talk about real quick is it says it's hereditary. It runs in families. So what they're saying is that your DNA is predisposed. So meaning you can be like a carrier or have the ability to get or contract the disease, but you may not ever develop it. Now, if you do have the DNA in your family line, then you are predisposed, meaning you can develop it. Now, how do you develop it? What happens is those of us that have it in our DNA, it can stay dormant all our life. But if you have a trigger, evidently it's called, you know, you have to have it triggered for it to rear up and actually form the disease. So you can carry the DNA for it, but you don't necessarily will have it unless you have a trigger. Now a trigger, it could be many different things, any kind of trauma to the body or to the mind, severe stress, which in my case, I had an injury and severe stress that brought mine on. But it could be severe stress. It could be you could have surgery and your body's trying to heal, and it's just hard on the body, so it causes a stressor, which triggers it. Childbirth. Childbirth is a beautiful thing, bringing a baby into the world, but it's very stressful on the body. And there are many who have given birth and then they were diagnosed with celiac disease. So there has to be a trigger. So you can carry it and it may not ever show itself. But once it's triggered, you then have to adhere to the gluten-free diet. Now, back to the symptom thing, there's some people that they don't see any symptoms, whereas others have one symptom or, a lot of symptoms. There's over 300 symptoms, so we're all not going to be equal and stuff on that. But, it's really interesting that it does run in families. For me, I never knew that. I never heard of anybody in my family until I really started digging deep and researching, second cousins, third cousins, fourth cousins, stuff like that. And then I just started popping up. People had, one of my cousins has Hashimoto's, and another has celiac, and others have just gluten intolerances and stuff. So I did find it, and with my testing and all the testing that I've done, my numbers were really high, and so they felt that I had, predisposition on both sides of my family, from both my mother's side and my father's side. And so, it's definitely kind of a crazy disease. It's hard to diagnose because there are so many symptoms, and there's so many similarities to other diseases and stuff. But anyway, so I really want to try to keep these pretty short, and I will be talking more about, different things with me and my journey. Again, I'd love to have you guys on Facebook. If you want to look me up, I'm under Joe Smythe. You can check out my blog at my celiac journey .info. And, I'm really hoping that if you can take anything out of any of the videos I do, um, if anything, just knowing that you have someone there that gets what you're going through, then that's my goal here. So make sure you follow me, check out my other videos that I'm going to be doing, and I'll be sharing my life as a celiac with you, and share them with others. And it's definitely a hard thing to deal with, but if you have the right mindset, then you can get through it. We can all get through it together. So I hope you guys have a great day, and until next time.